Hello everyone and welcome back to the June and July monthly update because we have been busy boys.
So you guys can see, by the way,
Yeah.
we're no longer in an office. We've changed professions.
We're in a construction team. I'm the CEO and chairman, Derek Boyd, and this is...
I'm the president and secretary, Vladimir Stakov. So let's go on ahead and get right into it. So first things first, let's catch you guys up on the legal aspects of what was going on back in May. If you guys remember in that video, we were literally dealing with the appeal of 108 and trying to figure out how not to make it take like 4+ months before we could actually get him evicted. And we learned about this thing called a bond for stay. Well, let me tell you, that bond for stay, super effective. If you are ever in a situation where a tenant is sitting there and trying to appeal an eviction against you, just file the bond for stay. Don't wait. Don't mess around with anything else. Don't even bother responding to them yet. Just file the bond for stay, because what happened with us is that the tenant didn't even bother showing up. The court already deemed that they were going to sit there and order them to pay all of May and all of June up front to keep the appeal going. And then obviously our rental increase amount was actually going to get approved as well going into July and so on and so forth, because we had sat there and we had given ample notice for it. So the second that we showed up in court, we just motioned to go on ahead and have his appeal dismissed because he failed to show up, and we were granted that, and we went right back into the eviction like nothing happened. Cost us a month of time though. We didn't evict him until what, the 20th?
It was almost exactly, I think it was the 22nd of June.
Yeah, so somewhere around the 20th. So if you remember, the original eviction date was supposed to be May 25th. And we got delayed for a whole month, had the hearing and everything else. I went right back and sat there and started the eviction on the 20th. Now, during that time frame,
Go ahead.
we also filed a judgment for basically wasting our time, because usually whenever we evict somebody, if they just go quietly, they don't make us go to court or whatever else, we just let it go. But this pissed us off enough to the point where we actually filed a judgment, and we've now been awarded and granted a default judgment against them in the amount of $3,530. So yeah, I gotta say we're doing pretty good.
So the other reason we were willing to follow through with the judgment is because actually when we actually went out there to go do the actual eviction, this dude made us wait like 3+ hours, because we went out there initially with one cop who was trying to do like what they normally do, where they call in advance to kind of find out whether or not they actually have the jurisdiction, the approval to do it.
Because of course he was sitting there and arguing. He's like, no, I filed the appeal. They can't do anything.
Yeah, he was showing.
He was literally sitting there and telling us to go home.
Yeah, he was showing the same paperwork that he had filed initially for the original appeal. Well, this was after the bond for stay portion. Now, the problem is that the cops couldn't exactly move forward because they did validate with the magistrate judge, the one that we met with the bond for stay. She did approve it, but it had to go back up to the Court of Common Pleas, and then that judge had to approve it. Well, they hadn't done that yet. They hadn't gotten through the system, even though it had been like 2.5 weeks as we waited a while. So anyhow, so basically what happened was we sat around, the lieutenant wound up coming, another corporal came, and it was like 3 cops and somebody else. Basically just sat out there for like literally 3 hours waiting for the final approval because they had to expedite the process. Then finally the Court of Common Pleas judge had approved it, and the moment we did, we went running right in there and did the full eviction.
Yeeted everything out, got it all done. Everything was good to go. And like the thing, it was honestly, I'll be honest, it was a much more messier eviction than what I'm used to. Because the other thing, there was a lot of little things that we can't necessarily go into just for like privacy concerns. But oh my God, if this person's ever watching, next time, watch after your damn kid.
Yeah.
Like seriously, I mean, just that simple. Like, your kids shouldn't be seeing this. Your kids shouldn't be running around all over the place. Watch after your damn kid.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say on that. But what actually I noticed even further was that a couple of days later, because you're only allowed to pick up your items after 48 hours. So basically, it got served and it happened. And within 48 hours, you have to pick up all your possessions. Otherwise, they're considered forfeited. And we're allowed to dispose of them however we want to. This asshole came back and he literally broke 3 of our windows.
4.
I'm sorry, 4. I didn't even do a good job of it. Only 2 of the windows got broken all the way through.
So the reason we know it was him, even though we don't physically have proof, we're 95% confident it was him, is because, like he said, you only have 48 hours to come grab your belongings. So all of his belongings were outside the home. Now, we've never had an issue with any windows that have gotten broken on the property since we've owned it for, at this point, a year and some change. And there was obviously reports from the neighbors, literally all the neighbors that surrounded, that his truck was out there with a trailer, physically grabbing all of his materials that night. Like, we're talking the next day. So not Wednesday was the day we did the eviction. Thursday evening, he was out there. Plus, he had called me to let me know that he was going to come get his dog later, which he never... or he did eventually when we had to call the cops.
Yeah, like way later. We had to call the police out to go pick up this dog was literally out there for like 3 or 4, 5 days or so with no additional food or water.
So anyway, so he left his dog, and the reason we know that he's the one that did it is because nobody else has been seen at the house, and they threw bricks through the windows, and he was the only one that ever had bricks on hand. He always had bricks laying out near his spigot, and so we know he grabbed the bricks and threw them through, because there would literally bricks going through the windows.
So obviously that annoyed us out of.
And in fact, we have a picture, so we'll put it up here to show you guys.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous to me. I just there's so many things that were ridiculous about it, but we're gonna move on from that because honestly, that's more of like the January stuff, and we don't want to get too fixed. I'm sorry, June.
I know we went back half a year ago.
Yeah, sorry. This is all the June stuff, so we don't want to get too hung up on it because it's, we should probably explain exactly why we decided to go with the construction site instead. So, yeah, you know how we've been needing a contractor for the mobile home park for like, I don't know, the last 6 months? Mm-hmm. Well, congratulations, we found them. They're doing this video right now.
You're looking at them. So,
God, man, we did not want to go back to contracting work, but let me give you a brief overview.
Real quick, the reason we even started doing contracting work is because of the piss poor quality that 108 was given back to us in. So after we did the eviction and we physically had everything just cleaned out and we could look at the actual problems, because we had our cleaners come out there and take out all the other debris and stuff, and we were looking at it. This is even without the fact that the windows were damaged. Just the condition of the home was horrid. Considering it is our newest and most valuable home on the entire property, we said, no, there's no way we can try to re-rent this in the current condition, and we didn't want to own or finance it because it is, once again, one of our most valuable. So we decided to take the executive decision to actually fix it up ourselves to turn it back into a rental again. And so that led to this.
Holes everywhere. Every single room had
good
2
stuff.
to 3 big ass holes in it.
Yep, and there was good stuff everywhere, which is great stuff. It's the spray on like insulating foam stuff. I mean, it literally increases on plumbing, like to try to fill in some of the holes and the gaps in the wall. Dude, there's messed up trim everywhere. Half the drawers in the kitchen don't work. There's holes in the floors that were supposed to have been fixed by our other contractor, which we'll get into in a minute. And then it was just in general the quality of like what was considered craftsmanship. Because if you remember, when we first got him in there, he was supposed to do some work to move in to get a discount on the rent.
Which, by the way, we got some really great advice from our attorney, and I recommend this for anybody else in the future. We will never discount somebody the rent for the repairs until the repairs are all fully done and finished. Because here's the thing, our attorney brought this up. It's like, why the hell are you guys discounting them the repairs up front? What incentive do they have to actually finish it? You're already giving them a discount. I was like, you know what? That is actually a great point. He's like, no, charge them full price that you would have once the repairs are done. Once they finish the repairs, then give them the discount, so they have every incentive to work towards it, report to you, and have you constantly coming out there to inspect it. I was like, oh my God, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, it's not that we'll never have somebody go in there to do like a rental agreement where basically like the tenant does the repairs or whatever else. I'm still fine to do those. It's just we'll never give the discount up front ever again.
Yeah, so basically, because we did do the discount up front, he was supposed to, if you remember, tear out all the carpets, fix the floors, put in ceiling fans, and something else.
Fix the AC. And then also there was a leak in the kitchen that we knew about, and he said that he would take care of it and he would fix it. So guess what? Never did.
Let me tell you, here's all of his fixes that he did. He put down some hardwood floor that, once again, it was mixed match, different types of floors, didn't go in and interlocking. It was horrible. All shifted around. It wasn't even enough to fill the rooms. It was like one room was like 2/3 done and the other room was like maybe a fifth. And then as far as the fix for the plumbing for the kitchen, he just great stuff the hole and then just basically rigged the hell out of all these pipes.
And he didn't even do a good job. It was constantly leaking.
And then there was the ceiling fans where he put in 4 ceiling fans. One is lopsided and shakes basically like it's going to fall off. So
and it doesn't even have any kind of a light on it. It's just the ceiling fan.
Just the ceiling fan. And then the other one, he has it on, but he doesn't have the cover for it, so all the wiring is exposed. And then finally, the big whammy, which was the AC, doesn't work. Well, we find out later on as we started doing the contracting work, which we'll get into in a minute, what happened with the AC.
So what we're at right now is that basically Derek and I, like I said, we decided whatever. We've done this in the past. We really did not want to have to go back to doing this, but we just kind of gave up on this one. And because I'm sorry, we didn't want to risk it falling apart any further. Because any further, we're starting to talk. It's about to be in worse condition than our other mobile homes at the park.
Yeah.
We were not about to let our best mobile home fall into that same exact condition. So we said, no, we're not doing it. We'll handle it because we know we'll sit there and we'll do it right. So we went out, we actually found a place and we started buying all the construction material, getting everything set up for it. We did a full paint job except in the kitchen and the laundry room area. And we just knew that we were going to just take care of it all. We were going to put in brand new floors. We were going to sit there and do a full paint job. We were going to just pretty much rehab the whole house, which is exactly what we've been doing now because it's a mess. So here's where we're at right now. We have spent a grand total of $4,500-ish so far. This has been for us to get all of the painting done because we painted the whole house. This has been for us to do all of the flooring because we're almost done with all of the flooring. We just still have the second living room area or like the den, whatever you want to call it. And then also the bathroom, the guest bathroom needs to still be done. We've had to fix so much of the subflooring because so many of the boards were either weak, we fell through them, or that they were like free floating, so they weren't on any kind of a
jump in
joist.
on this one. So whenever, I believe it was April or May. No, actually it might have been March. So after we fired the other contractor and we were trying to test out new contractors, we were getting one of our tenants that was down at 136, who was supposed to be a licensed contractor, which he may or may not be licensed, I don't know yet. Either way, point is we had him go up to fix the floors from that same kitchen water leak that was happening, plus some other leaks.
It was back in March.
That's what I thought. I thought it was quite a while back. So he was supposed to fix those floors back in the kitchen back in March, and as we were tearing up the floor, actually before we were tearing up the floors, as we were basically butting our floors up to his floors, first off, our floors, I'm not trying to toot our own horn or anything, are borderline perfect. They go in absolutely interlocked, 100%, everything's level, it makes sense. When we got to his, because we had to try to match it at the section where the island is and then where the floors meet, so they basically just two seams and then we put a threshold over it. His floors just were janky as hell. And on top of that, we found out that his weren't all interlocking and he nailed them in. And so we were like, crap, well, we can't like try to, somewhat wedge them in to fit, or at least try to like butt it as close as we can, because it looks out of place. So we're like, oh man, we meant to redo all these floors. So we're like, all right, we'll do it anyways. So because we had the leftover floors from the previous tenant that weren't even really put in, so we were just like, we'll just repurpose those. As we were tearing up these floors, that's when we found out that all the patches for the subfloor were horribly done, where you were falling through half of them, and most of them weren't even braced in any particular. There was no joist attached to it. They were literally free floating boards that if you just put enough pressure on, which I did fall through one of them, literally you would fall through. You would fall through to the ground like an idiot. So we had to redo 4 major holes in the floor, and then we had to redo we had to, like I said, repurpose some of the living room floors that the previous tenant had, put them in the kitchen, and then butt it to our floors. And then we also had to redo the floors in the laundry room, same reason, holes everywhere. And then finally, that delayed us by like an extra 2 or 3 days because we had to do more floors and more patches that we didn't expect. So that was the complaint I had before about the contract.
And then the other thing that we sat there and we did as we were working in that house, and once we pretty much finished the demo of it, we went ahead and we applied for the electrical permit. We immediately got that approved. So now that house is now good to go on the electric permit. There's no issues with that.
As of this moment, we have 2 out of the whole park electric permits have been fully approved.
And so once we got the power back on, that's when we noticed.
Wait, before you even get to that, remember the second day we were painting, massive rainstorm comes in, and there is not even a minor leak. We're talking a existential crisis of a leak. We're talking like you somebody, put a faucet on.
Somebody turned a faucet on the roof just coming down.
It is a perfect stream.
I want you to know.
No separation, no dribble, perfect stream into the floor.
Let me bring this up, by the way. In the May update, we literally talked about the unreasonable demand. We kind of are going to eat our own words here because we were both laughing. Like, what roof leak is he talking about?
Oh.
Now I'm livid because that is not a recent issue.
Oh,
that
no.
has been going on for months, and we weren't informed until he filed the appeal.
Dude, it was like literally. I wish we were making this. We should have got a video. It was
Actually,
like
I think I do have a video.
Maybe if you do, we'll put
Yeah.
it up here. But it literally looked like somebody just turned a faucet on, like got a garden hose, put it on top of the roof, and just drained it straight into the living room floor, right on top of where his couch used to be. Which were like, how did you live like this, man?
I never got informed of it. So yeah, like
So we had to get that fixed, which that led to another problem, which was we got the contractor to fix it. They did a horrible job, didn't do it at all, and then their foot went through the sheetrock, so we had to redo a patch there, and then they had to come back out a second time and redo.
not the same guy though, because
No, different
once we found out, obviously it was like different guys that get sent out for crews. We demanded not him. We were like, we basically were telling the foreman, like, who's basically in charge of all these roofing guys. We're like, no, you and somebody else. Like, make sure this is done right. And I will say, they did an excellent job.
Yeah, the second time.
The second time, the roof was fully fixed. Everything was done right. Everything was done correctly. They even went a little bit beyond, like, where it needed to. But unfortunately, as far as the foot through the hole section, yeah, we're the ones that ended up fixing that. They did discount us for obviously the labor and time for us having to do it, but the annoyance of it is because it's dealing with a popcorn ceiling, and that's a whole another issue of trying to fix a popcorn ceiling.
Give you a quick rundown on why popcorn is so hard is because it has texture to it, like a little pattern. It's really, really hard to match that pattern. So like if it's just a regular paint job, you could paint your blends and you'll never know. But with the pattern, it's really hard to get an old pattern to match, especially when it's sprayed on. It's got a different look to it every time.
But yeah, so and then the thing is, so back to the original thing, it was like, so we got the power improved, we got the electric on. That's when we found out that the AC was never repaired. In fact, it was so unrepaired, there wasn't even a control panel in the house. And then the wires for the control panel were linked to nothing. And then the wires in the furnace, half of them were live, half and like out of place. The other half of them were just nothing. They were a bunch of nothing burger. And whenever you tried to turn on the light,
there was actually one section in the air handler where they had put low voltage run lines into the high voltage receptors and high voltage into the low receptors, which was basically frying our
HVAC.
I forgot what it was. Some panel on the actual fan itself.
Yeah, because we had to call
a condenser, something like that. I don't know.
We called an AC guy out. And by the way, I'll put up their information here. If you ever need AC repair in this area, can't recommend these guys enough. Like, dude was super professional. Called back in less than 30 minutes after I left a voicemail. Came out that same day. Fixed the problem that same day, charged us a very reasonable rate. And as far as like coming out to even inspect it, because AC guys are notorious for this, lowest price of it. It was like $55 for them to just come out and just inspect it and tell you what the issue was. Where like these other people we were calling were wanting to charge us like $130, and that didn't come off the price. Just for them to come out there and be like, yep, that's your problem. And I'm like, I think I know what the problem is. I'm trying to figure out what you're going to charge me to fix it.
Needless to say, they really saved us a shitload of money.
Oh yeah,
we were expecting a significantly higher price on our budget, and so they helped us out a lot.
So we were definitely happy with the AC repair guys. Very professional, very well done. Had the AC up and running that same day, and basically just told us of any potential future problems we might have with it, so we're already aware of it moving forward. Another funny thing is when we got the electric on, by the way, I couldn't figure out why the kitchen breaker kept flipping, and then I found out that our tenant, in his dumbassery, wired the entire living room area wrong. So whenever you would flip the switch in the living room, you would flip the breaker for the kitchen and the dining room area all at once. And it took me like 30 minutes to just figure out what it was. Like, it wasn't that hard of a fix. I just had to pull out the outlets, test all the wires, figure out what was live, what wasn't live, so on and so forth. And then once I got it, I was like, oh, okay. I just connected it all together. Boom, worked. No problems. Everything was up and running, operational. And I'm just like, how did you live like this? Like, how did you live like this? Like, he had it like pigtailing off of itself onto another wire into the other thing.
Other master craftsmanship. Don't forget that he painted the ceilings.
Oh yeah,
because he got paint on everything. He put stain on the wood, like accent wall, or whatever, on the lower.
So this is fake wood that was stained.
Was stained, and so it took like 5 to 7 coats of primer to actually cover it. And then on top of all of that, he put like in the bathroom, he mortared wall tile for the floor, like and he got mortar everywhere.
And then he didn't sit there and like put the tiles in correctly. So some of the tiles, like we've messed around with it, you could just ding it out. It has nothing holding it in.
Some of them you can literally, I literally grabbed a few and just picked them up out of my hand. Like just grabbed it, motor broke off, picked it up out of my hand, with my hand. Like there was no, it's not secured in there at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we were like, we're gonna redo this too.
So yeah, so basically where we're at right now, I'll go back over it. Here's what Derek and I have done. We have done painting, flooring, subflooring, and electrical so far, and gotten pretty much all of that except the flooring done as of this moment in time. We had to contract out the roof and the AC repair, which is why we are currently at $4,500. We are expecting to spend a grand total of $7,000 on this entire project, meaning we're still expecting to potentially spend another $3,500. What's that?
2,000.
I'm sorry.
It's 500 plus.
4, yeah.
5,000.
Sorry, math hard. That's why I'm not the CFO.
That's why I'm CFO.
Yeah, so we're still planning to spend another $2,500 with it. And keep in mind, this is me and Derek doing almost all of it. Like again, we've done this. Yeah, like we've done this before in the past. We know what we're doing. We obviously are learning quickly as we need to get things resolved and fixed. And the sad thing is, this isn't even our primary job. We're investors, and we're doing better jobs than what these contractors have done altogether. Obviously, as you guys have seen already, because I know I would have already put it up, like before and after pictures of just what we have right now. And we're not even done, and we're doing an astronomically better job than any of these guys. And you can't use the arguments like, oh, because it's your home. No, I'm not living there. It's not my problem. Yeah. Like, God, man, it just drives me insane.
Yeah, because if it was like our homes, we'd take a little bit longer time.
Oh, yeah. My home would, like what you guys are seeing here, my home would look even better than this.
Because we're not necessarily rushing, but we aren't exactly, we cut twice and we measured twice and cut once. But in our own homes, we're going to measure like 4 times and then cut once just to make sure it looks perfect.
And so, but here's what we still have to do. So this is what we haven't done. A lot of the doors, we haven't mentioned this yet. A lot of the doors in there is like inside doors, not outside doors. Outside doors are fine, but inside doors, FUBAR. We're gonna have to find door replacements. So this is for like closet doors, bedroom doors, things like that. They either have
holes, the like hollow parts of them.
The doors peeling apart, like
off the track horribly. The whole frame is screwed up. All the trim is missing on them.
We have a lot of shoe molding that we need to put in because now we've actually put in proper hardwood flooring. Well, you need to have shoe molding tracks pretty much all around it. So we still have that to do. And then there's a lot of decoration. And what I mean by decoration is obviously like trying to get some of the paint off some of the crown molding, like sitting there and putting in like the proper floor vents that actually fit into their each individual spot with the hardwood there. Putting in thresholds to sit there and like create like clear transitions from like one side to another, fixing the kitchen countertop so it's not rocking all the time, like things like that, like little decorative touches to actually make the home worth its value. The good news is absolutely confident that we will be able to rent this, barring any kind of crazy deal we might come across. Definitely going to be able to rent this for low 1,300. My projection 1,500. So on low end, I'm expecting no less than 1,300. Because the thing is, I'll be honest, our objective here, we're pricing out the retards. Like honestly, we do not want any more damage to this home. We want a good, stable, like single person or family, like somebody that has literally their life together living there. We do not want to deal with any more issues.
We've actually already gotten one offer for 1,300 and it's semi fixed up condition. So we do know that that's already on the table. That's why we're saying at low end 1,300, probably closer to 1,500 because we're obviously going to continue to fix it up and see what other stuff in the market dictates the price.
Yeah. But honestly, that's it. We really don't want to get into too much more on anything else because I'll be honest, we're just not done.
One other is that for the repair?
Now, yeah, this is pretty much it for everything we need to cover. We'll have a final, like pretty much like a final version. I'll show like my advertising pictures and stuff like that for the house once we've completed everything next month, and we're hoping that these last 2 months
Oh,
have
the reason
honestly
I'm
been
bringing it up is
crazy.
because we still have one more major thing we gotta do. We gotta get the windows fixed.
Oh,
That's why I was bringing it up.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
So you were mentioning we gotta get the doors and decorative stuff, and I was like, well, we also gotta get a contractor of some kind to get out there and replace the windows because we haven't done that yet. We just kind of patched it and put holes. I mean, like put plastic up to cover the holes.
Yeah.
So the AC was running, so we're not burning up anymore. But yeah, we gotta get an actual window repair guy out there. We don't know exactly what that's gonna cost. But outside of that, maybe like a pressure washing, and then we're gold. And then we're done with the construction portion. But outside of that, is there more stuff to talk about besides that?
Honestly, no, because the thing is, I just want to be next month.
We do have one more thing. So 118, this was technically June. This would have been the June update, but obviously July is part of that June update now. To back it all back up, to reiterate who they are. So they were originally like a 3-part couple thing. I'm not 100% sure. It was 2 girls and 1 guy, and I don't know who was doing what with who, but it doesn't matter. Either way, they were getting into a house, getting into 118. They did get the initial electric permit approved. They got everything going. They were living there. They were kind of fixing it up, I guess. And then basically, at some point last month, one of the girls and the guy just up and left, and also apparently like stole a credit card or something and just ran off with a bunch of money. Left the other person there. We tried working with them for about a month or so, and then they just blatantly couldn't catch up with payments, and so they just gave it back to us. So we wound up getting 118 back.
The house is disgusting.
And let me say, it is in a really poor condition as well. However, the main thing is that it is still in a livable condition, I guess. So we are just going to re-owner finance that one once it gets finished getting cleaned up, because we have a cleaners working on it right now. But yeah, they basically just tore down a wall, screwed up some doors, took out like a window, not a window, but like some doors missing somewhere. There's all kinds of crap in the yard. It's just a mess. But we did get that one back. So currently, as of this moment, as far as like budgeting goes, which by the way, I'm gonna tell you right now, the budget is FUBAR. I'm not giving you a budget in this video because I honestly don't know. Because half of our tenants are behind, the other half have paid, but then we also have the problem of who's missing. Plus, we have the crazy debt cycle we got going on with all of our investment into the repair costs. Plus, half of those costs aren't even like paid yet because they're on payment plans, and it's just a mess. And I just haven't had the time because obviously we've been doing construction. So with that being said, quick rundown.
By the way, this is exactly why because again, you have to remember, Derek and I own a lot of properties in our personal lives. Dude, this is exactly why we didn't want to do construction, because unfortunately a lot of things fall through the cracks.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not focusing on your business and your investments, and you're staying on top of you're not staying on top of your real estate, stuff will fall through the cracks. And so that's the unfortunate truth of where we're at. We're not, I mean, if we had to pay it all right now, oh yeah, we'd be negative. Like we'd have to put in personally. But like he said, we do have a lot of things like broken out into different payment plans and stuff like that. So it's not that we're negative, but yeah, we're definitely not at the nice spot that we were like back when we were talking with you guys in March.
Yeah, so...
Oh, I'm sorry, May.
So long story on where we are in the portfolio right now. Everything's still producing, rent-wise, everything's still going, except 108 is not producing, 118 is not producing. Oh, we did have a minor update. Somebody was interested in 122. We got an earnest payment of $800 from them.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, we had a lot of stuff happen in June, and we just forgot half of it because we've been busy. So we got, like I said, somebody was interested in 122. They didn't have the full amount. They were doing an earnest to get into the owner finance. We wound up getting $800 down, and then we also took in a trade-in value of a vehicle, which is a Ford Explorer 2001. We gave them a credit of $1,500, but they still had to come up with $200 within a week. We gave them 4 weeks to come up with $200.
Actually, we gave them 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then when they still didn't come up with it by the 3rd week, I literally told them, no, you guys need to come up with the rental amount, because if we would have done this properly, you would have already had to owe that. So I was like, you need to come up with 600. You need to come up with 650. And just pay that, and then you guys will be good, and we'll start the owner finance agreements and go from there. Otherwise, if you default,
so anyways,
it is what it is.
They didn't come through. They defaulted. So we got the $800 out of it.
$200.
Yeah, it was mind blowing. So we got the $800 out of it cash, and then we currently have the Ford Explorer up for sale. So we'll see if we get something on that.
Oh yeah, if that Ford Explorer sells, even for like even for like $3,000, oh, that'll clear up the budget very
that
well.
pretty much goes straight into the repair budget. But so with that being said, so once again, 118 is not producing. Sorry, 108 is not producing. 118 is not producing. 122 is not producing. 130 is not producing, and obviously 138, the lot, is not producing. Everything else, the rest of our portfolio is producing. Also, I don't know if we told you in the last video, but I'll tell you again in this video anyways. The rent, the property rent at 18 Eagles View Court, the one we most recently got, it did wind up going up. It went from the 165 to 200. So luckily we did exactly what we thought was going to happen. We made it to where we were always
that rental amount, was based off the current lot rent. Any increase they would be responsible for.
So now instead of them paying us $665, they pay us $700 to account for the increase in the lot rent. So we're still receiving $500. Outside of that, I think that's pretty much every update to go through June and July. Can you think of anything else last minute?
No, because obviously we apologize. We know this video is a bit disembogulated, or like kind of all over the place. Just to give you guys an idea, we've been going out to the mobile home park because we didn't want to kill ourselves doing this. We went out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every single time we would literally leave our house at about 9:30 to 10, and we usually would not come home until like 11
or midnight. Because a few times we came back.
And so that's if this video feels a little rushed, I apologize. It's because it is.
Plus, we were out all day today, too.
Yeah, we were out all day today catching up on everything that we have, because we're recording this on a Wednesday. So we literally decided not to go out there and work today to do this video and catch up on all the other business stuff that we've been putting on the back burner. And it's just, obviously, it starts building up over the course of time. We have a secret project that we're currently working on, potential new investment, potential new investor, and so on and so forth. We just honestly don't have the time to deal with it yet, so we're still focused on
unfortunately put that on the back burner. We have a lot of little things in the background. We just
don't get me wrong. Having two people working on something together, like as far as managing the business and also doing the construction, it helps a lot. But you can only focus on so much before you go insane, and that's exactly what you never want to be. Because if you start going insane, you'll start hating what you're doing. You'll start letting more shit slip through the cracks, and then eventually you'll give up. So you gotta let off. You gotta let off sometimes.
But yeah, outside of that, that's pretty much the whole update for June and July. Appreciate you guys checking in on us. We're still alive. We didn't leave. And August should hopefully be a lot more calm, because we're nearing the completion of the repair. And then from there, it's just our basic routine of just rentals and stuff. Yeah, so anyhow, outside of that, that's pretty much the whole video. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it, guys. We'll see you in August. Thanks again.
Peace.